4 common but very hurtful mental brain myths that you should probably be aware of. This is an article that came across my desk, guys, and I read it, and I just want to let you guys know about it. That's all. I'm trying to create news that you can use, guys. Welcome to Venture Daily. It's me, Peter. Let's talk about 4 myths around your brain. We're going to go over venture deals for today, and then I'm going to ask you a question about finding your strengths. This is something that I was chatting about with someone else. Let's get into it, guys. Welcome to Venture Daily. 4 common but harmful myths about how your brain works. Psychology professor Art Markman explains why you should stop believing all these things about your brain. Now, I will tell you that as a scientist myself, some of you guys forget that I did study a lot of this. As a scientist myself, as a trained scientist, I will tell you that when it comes to understanding the brain, we really don't know anything. We really don't know a whole lot about everything that goes on up there. Trust me. Actually, I'll say this. The older you get, the more you realize, the less you actually know about what's going on in your brain, and not even that, what's going on in everyone else's brain. I'm telling you, the older I get, guys, life is it's not that complex sometimes. The brain is endlessly fascinating despite the amount of time we spend thinking. Few of us learned much about the way our minds and brains work. As a result, there are some persistent myths about the brain. It is worth highlighting them because you'll think more effectively if you work with your brain rather than against it. Number 1, people only use 10% of their brains. Yeah, this has been some BS for a long time. Let's get into it. People throw out this number all the time. But what does it even mean? Up front, it's an important note that the brain is an incredibly energy-hungry organ. It's generally about 3% of your body weight, but it uses 20 to 25% of the energy you expend each day. Evolution would kill off creatures that had an organ that was expensive to operate that wasn't being used. The source of this figure isn't entirely clear. One possibility is that it refers to the proportion of your brain that consists of neurons, which are cells that send electrical signals and process the brain's information to supporting structure, include fluid in cells that insulate neurons and repair damage. It is true that the neurons are only one of a number of different kinds of cells and structures in the brain, but all of this structure is important for the functioning of the brain. In reality, we actually use our entire brain. There's a lot going on in there, guys. We're learning more and more every day. Another possibility is that the people are referring to the capacity of the brain. That is, perhaps people are only using 10% of their potential. That's probably more accurate. Most people aren't using all of their potential, that's for sure. Again, it isn't clear where this number comes from. A better way to think about it, though, is people's capacity to develop any skill is a combination of practice and talent, where talent refers to the capacity a person has to achieve in that domain. I would go even farther and say talent is the motivation, the internal motivation to actually want to do that, to want to grow that skill, want to do that career, want to grow that experience or do that thing. A simple rule to keep in mind is that you can get quite good at almost any skill. I 100% believe. I am a big believer, guys, and if you didn't know this, you'll know it now. Big believer in self-education. You can truly be anything that you want to be. I know this because I can be anything that I want to be. You just have to put your mind to it. You got to put your axe to the grind and do it. That's kind of one of the reasons why, I like doing this stuff and encouraging you guys with random news you can use, guys, because I know that you can do anything, and I want to give you encouraging articles daily, guys. A simple rule to keep in mind is that you can get quite good at almost any skill. 100% true. Cha-ching, yiggity yay. Whether it's thinking-based skill, a musical skill, or a physical skill, if you practice hard at it. However, if your goal is to be among the best in the world at something, you would better also have some talent for it. Number 2, myth about your brain. You're either left-brained or right-brained. Well, if you look at the picture of the brain, you'll see that the right and left sides, called hemispheres, are mirror images. The hemispheres are connected together by a couple of bands of tissue, the biggest of which is called the corpus callosum. Started in the late 1950s, neuroscientist Roger Sperry studied patients who had their corpus callosum cut as a way of controlling epilepsy. It's probably a good thing, guys, that we don't do these types of experiments anymore. Because
Nope.
those experiments, they seem pretty painful. Cutting off your corpus callosum. Epilepsy involves electrical signals in the brain that are out of control. The aim of the surgery was to prevent that wild electrical activity from crossing from one hemisphere to the another. Sperry did clever experiments in which information was presented to a patient's right or left side, which led that information to go initially to only one hemisphere of the brain. In general, information crosses over. So information presented to the left visually crosses to the right side of the brain, while information presented to the right goes first to the left side of the brain. In normal brains, this information quickly crosses over the corpus callosum and is processed on both sides. But in split brain patients, it remains in the hemisphere where it goes first. On the basis of these studies, Sperry found that a lot of language abilities for right-handed people and many left-handers are processed in the left hemisphere of the brain, while many spatial abilities are better when done by the right hemisphere. This work is consistent with observations from stroke patients going back to the 1800s, and similar results have been found in more recent brain imaging studies. From this work, people began to talk about themselves as being left-brained or right-brain dominant, where the left brain was supposed to be logical and algorithmic, and the right brain was supposed to be more artistic and intuitive. There are both intuitive and more effortly cognitive systems in the brain, and there are differences in the way that people like to think and reason. However, these abilities don't have anything to do with the hemispheres of the normally functioning brain. Both hemispheres of your brain are involved in all of the complex work you do. So in reality, you do really use all of your brain. But scientists have kind of come to realize this these days. We don't quite understand everything that's happening inside, but it's not like you're only using 10% of your brain, guys. The potential danger of labeling yourself as a right brain or left brain is that you will ignore the information that you get from either of your intuitive or effortful system. The most effective thinkers are ones who can learn to rely on both their intuitive judgments, which reflect on statistics and events and objects and people that they have encountered in the past, as well as their reasoning, which reflects procedures they have learned to carry out. After all, good decisions think right and feel right. Ooh, that's a good thing. Ooh. I like that. I could dig that, guys. I could dig that. Good decisions. That's a really good way to look at it. Good decisions feel right. They feel right, and they think right. Good decision, think right, and feel right. I love that. Number 3, emotions prevent rational thinking. Well, I think it's pretty clear that many of us have had or have been in experiences where the emotional side of you, right? The emotional side of you overrules your rationale, but you're actually still using your rationale when you're highly emotional. It's just sometimes a little numbed down. Related to this discussion is the idea that emotions just get in the way of good thinking. The idea is that emotions reflect a more primitive form of thinking, and that good human thinking is coldly rational. Nope. As the cognitive neuroscientist Joseph Ledoux had pointed out, our emotional and reasoning systems work in concert. For example, it is possible to talk yourself into almost anything. I'm sure many of you guys have experienced moments where you've talked yourself into insanity, talked yourself into ridiculous situations. Leave a comment below if you got a story to tell. When faced with risky decisions, for example, it's possible to talk yourself into almost anything. But the tingle of anxiety, that tingle, guys, tingle of anxiety that comes along with those risky decisions is providing valuable information that you should not ignore. It is not just the emotions that don't always get you in trouble sometimes. They actually save you from bad decisions. And last but not least, the 4th myth about your brain: everyone has one learning style that suits them best. Wrong.
Nope.
There are many different ways to learn. Finally, there have been a lot of discussion over the past few decades about learning styles. Many people enjoy getting information in a particular mode. Some like to hear things, some like to read things, some like to get visual representations of new information. Some people like to be able to touch and manipulate things that they are learning about. And that's one reason why I'm doing this daily stuff, so that people can listen and be encouraged throughout the day, whenever, in their medium of choice, whether it be video and watching me, or whether they want to listen to me on iTunes or Google Play or Spreaker or Spotify, whatever. We're trying to make it easy for you guys to have a little bit of content, encouraging content every day, guys, especially if you're a founder or in the Agile world or a venture capitalist, because I love you guys. Based on these preferences, there's a popular proposal that there are significant differences between people in which modes let them learn best. That is, visual learners would learn things differently than auditory learners or tactile learners. Research by Dan Willingham and his colleagues have demonstrated consistently that any preferences people have for the way they want to take in information does not determine how well they learn when information is presented in different ways. Instead, everyone takes away different kinds of information from different sorts of interactions with what they are trying to learn. So rather than trying to tailor the way you learn new information to a particular style, give yourself many different exposures to new material in different modes to maximize what you learn. Not bad. A great article, guys. I hope you enjoyed that article. I hope it kind of quelled some of the misconceptions about your brain. And what's always been interesting to me is when, especially I've been in enough conferences to see this, is that when conference speakers talk about how important it is to leverage different aspects of your brain and to categorize individuals, like, no. There are many, many different ways to learn. There's many, many different ways to use your brain. And at the end of the day, actually, sum total, if you're still here and you're still listening, it kind of doesn't really matter. The takeaway, the real takeaway, guys, the real takeaway that I want you to take away from this is simply this. Your brain is a powerful organ. It's a powerful instrument. It's a powerful thing. It can control your destiny. It can control your life in good and bad ways. And your brain, here's the whole idea. Your brain can create a future before you even live it. Your brain is able to create and mold and fix a future that's possible for you. And you can live it out. Marcus Aurelius, you guys know him, old Roman emperor right back in the day. Marcus Aurelius, what did he say? He said, "A man is what he thinks about all day." A man is what he thinks about all day. So the question for you guys is, what are you thinking about all day? Because whatever you think about all day is what you'll become. I hope that you guys are thinking positive thoughts. You guys are thinking awesome thoughts about your future, your career, your family, life. Be that, guys. Thanks so much for today's reading of an article. I hope it was helpful and encouraging, guys. Here's a word from our sponsor. True startup story, guys. You got it. Your company just got seed round financed. Congratulations. You're going to the moon. But now you have to scale. You found great talent out in California, New York, Georgia, and even Eastern Europe. So what communications platform will you be using to ensure your international team is always aligned? Well, the answer is easy. Slack.com for Teams. We've used Slack for all of our previous startups, and they've supported us in tremendous ways. And we want to give them a thanks today for supporting vchunting.com. Did you also know that Slack is a great tool for personal use? Yeah, I use my own personal Slack channel to drop in documents, notes, to-dos, and follow-ups to ensure that my workflow throughout the day is right on course. I promise you, if you try out slack.com for personal use, you'll end up using it for your team as well. Go to slack.com to check it out. Well, guys, welcome to Venture Deals. Venture Deals, we're going to be covering them in just a second. But before we do, make sure that you follow me on tweeters. Engage with me there. I'm spending lots of time there. Secondly, guys, make sure that you sign up for the VC Hunting, the Daily Hunt newsletter. I'm sending out news every day that you can use. And the articles that I cover every day are almost never in the daily newsletter. So putting all this news down that you guys can use. But let's get into Venture Deals for December 16th, 2019. These are some big wins, guys. Care Syntax, a Boston-based developer of surgical analytics, raised $45.6 million in funding. Investors include Wiz Partners, Plug and Play, Barco Healthcare, Mitsubishi Corporation, Raylands, and IPF Partners. Congratulations. Edcast, a Mountain View, California-based company on AI-powered personalized learning and knowledge management for enterprise customers, raised $35 million in a Series D funding. Edcast. See, this is why I do this, guys, because sometimes these ideas are worth clicking on. The future of work is here. Welcome to Edcast, AI-powered knowledge cloud with a green strike through on the text. Weird. That's really weird. It doesn't make it any more readable. What does this do? Increased productivity? Higher performer retention? I think I have to check this out, guys. Congratulations to Edcast. If you want to be highlighted, maybe you should hit me up with your startup. Game.tv, a mobile esports platform, raised $25 million in funding. Whoa, we're going straight there, guys. Game TV, esports assistant. Oh, it's like Clippy. It's like Clippy from Microsoft. Second Closet, a Toronto-based company offering self-storage services, raised $13.2 million in Series A funding. Not bad. Sprout Insurance, a Hartford, Connecticut-based platform aimed to make it more efficient to buy life insurance, raised $12 million in a Series A funding. Congratulations. Kindbody, a New York-based health tech company providing fertility, gynecology, and wellness services, raised $10 million in funding from GV. Trust and Will, a San Diego, California-based provider of legal forms and information, raised $6 million in funding. Nice. Link Ventures led the round and was joined by investors including Revolution's Rise of the Rest Seed Fund. Interesting. EcoZen, an India-based agri-tech startup, raised $6 million in funding from Innovation and Food Agriculture Fund. Not bad. HoloLight, an Australia-based developer of holographic software solutions, raised $4.4 million in a Series A funding. Congratulations. BlueSpace.ai, a Spain-based autonomous driving startup focused on mass transit, raised $3.5 million in seed funding. If you're going to be attacking mass transit, you're probably going to need more than $3.5 million in seed. But then again, what do I know? Belkin, a portfolio company of AE Industrial Partners, acquired Base2, a Bellevue, Washington-based provider of software and systems engineering consulting services. Ooh, nice. Congratulations. That was kind of like my acquisition of a service company. Good job, guys. Good job. One Equity Partners made a minority investment in Nexion, an Italy-based automotive solutions business. A Riverside company made an investment in health tech Bioactives SL, a Spain-based manufacturer of active pharmaceutical ingredients, excipients, flavorings, and sweeteners for the pharmaceutical, nutraceutical, and probably the athletic world as well. No, cosmetic. Arcline Investment Management agreed to acquire Fairbank Morse, Beloit, a Wisconsin-based manufacturer of diesel engines and generator sets, for $450 million. See right there, guys. See right there. Arcline Investment Management agreed to acquire Fairbanks Morse, manufacturer of diesel engines and generator sets, for $450 million. It don't have to be sexy, guys. Your ideas never have to be sexy. You just have to be willing to build it. Build it to the point where it's great, till it's awesome, and then you too can make $450 million on diesel engines and generator sets. Guys, okay. Someone asked me a question. It was a DM real quick. They asked me, why are you covering venture deals? Because this is where money is going. These ideas are getting funded. These ideas should help you think about your life and what you want to build, what you want to do. And I want to give you this every day to see that money is going into so many different places, so many different startups, so many different markets, so many different economies of scale. I want to inspire you. I want to inspire you guys. It's crazy. It's crazy what's being funded and where money is being thrown at, guys. Data Robot agreed to acquire Paxita, a Redwood City, California-based company focused on self-service data preparation and data fabric. Financial terms weren't disclosed, but that's okay. Apex Partners agreed to acquire Coalfire, a Louisville, Colorado-based provider of cybersecurity advisory and assessment services from the Carlyle Group. Well, those are your venture deals for today, December 16th, 2019. I hope these are encouraging. This is where money is going. I'm going to be checking out Edcast, which is really cool, and Torny, or Game.tv, with this little Clippy dude. I'm going to be checking out these startups as they were just financed. Let's move on.
Did you know that there's even more value than just audio or video? Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok at VC Hunting, and make sure to sign up for the VC Hunting newsletter, where you'll be able to get weekly news on venture capital, startups, founder stories, and the occasional wisdom extracted from Peter's brain. Go to vchunting.com to sign up. And now, back to the episode.
So guys, in today's final word from me, Peter, I want to talk to you guys about finding what you're good at. I got a text message. Actually, I'll read it to you guys if you guys will huddle just for a minute, because I like bringing up stuff that's happened in my real life. I was talking with one of my old friends, and she said in a text, she said, I had zeroed in on my strengths. Interestingly enough, it took me this long to figure it out. Haha. And the context of this conversation is I was asking her about how her 2019 has been going. She's been a busy bee, growing a consulting business from scratch. Now I'm going to read it out because I just want to get it right. I asked her how has it been? She said, we're a bit smaller now. Had to let some people go over the summer, but they weren't performing. My business partner, one sales, a couple recruiters, part-time office manager, plus a bunch of contractors, 10 plus outlet clients. That's a pretty significant company. We're talking about close to 15, 20 people in this company now. And I am super excited for her. Now, what's so funny? Now, what's interesting is even though she's been able to do this, and I've watched her do this over the last couple of years, build this business, build this startup, build this company, and now she's got 15 to 20 people. But even then, now please just listen to this. Even after building this business, doing all this stuff, and business development, recruiters, office managers, she said, I zeroed in on my strengths this year. Interestingly enough, it took me this long to figure it out. And I said, I can't wait. I can't wait for her to explain this to me later in person, because that's how we do. These are the types of conversations that you should have in person as people reveal who they are to you. And I love having these types of one-on-one conversations with entrepreneurs and people in the Agile space, people in the venture capital space. Those are my three loves, right? Agile, being a founder, startups, venture capital, those are my three loves. So I love talking with individuals from here. But what's so novel here is that even though she's done all this, she's still figuring out who she is, what she wants to do, what she's great at. And I can't wait for her to explain what her strengths are, because I think she's strong in a lot of things. But I know, especially coming to you guys as a founder, entrepreneur, I know that focusing on your strengths really needs to be where you are. I find it fascinating. I find it absolutely fascinating, especially in the educational world, that teachers will often tell you, I got a couple kids, tell you where you need to focus with your kids on their weaknesses. The problem is that my kids' weaknesses and my weaknesses will always be weak. They will never be as strong as or stronger than my most natural strengths. The strengths that I have honed in on, the strengths that I have focused on, the strengths that I have built up, the strengths that I have grown calluses for, all those reps, all that work, right? My biggest strengths will always be head and shoulders above, will be exponentially more than any other weakness that I could ever work on. Focusing on your strengths, focusing on what you're good at is when life gets great. It really is, because you're working in your wheelhouse, you're doing an exceptional job, you're highly adept, skilled at doing it, you appreciate the value of what you're doing better, you don't have to go through all the beginning hurdles of not being able to do things well and getting correction, getting feedback, or even getting slapped on the wrist if you made a mistake. We all make mistakes, especially in this lady's world, in consulting, in services, right? Well, obviously in products as well. And so I just can't wait. I can't wait to see what she's zeroed in on in terms of her strengths. And the question for you guys, the question I want to leave with you guys today is, what are your strengths? Are you playing to your strengths? Or are you spending time focusing on things that will always be weaker than your naturally innate, God-given talents that you have? Your greatest strengths will always be what you should focus on. Don't ever try to bring up your weaknesses. I mean, it's okay to get your weaknesses to a point where they're not embarrassing, I suppose, but life isn't found in your weaknesses. Life is found in your strengths, which sometimes come from your greatest weaknesses, interestingly enough. But maybe I'll leave that for another conversation. So let me know. Give me feedback, guys, in today's video. Subscribe to my newsletter, hit reply, and let me know your answer to this question. Or comment below. What are your strengths? How do you play to your strengths? And what are you learning today? Thanks so much for hanging out with us, guys, in Venture Daily, brought to you by me. I hope these are encouraging. I want to be part of your day. I want to be part of your life every day, and I hope this is an encouraging 26 minutes plus. Have a great one, guys. I'll see you on the next one.